Hello guys, welcome to Computer Conversation. This is Shibnath bringing you the next video of the PC build series on this channel. Today we are going to build a 75,000 rupees build. First, let's talk about this build a bit. This build is basically aimed to be a 1440p or 2K gaming build and can act very well as an entry-level 4K build. If anyone wants a 1080p high refresh rate gaming PC, this one is a good option for them. The FPS we can expect from this build are at 1080p, we can expect 120 plus FPS, at 2K 80 plus, and at 4K 50 plus. The above figures are just an average and will vary according to the games. Without any further delay, let's start the video. As usual, we are going to start this build with the CPU. For the build, the CPU I have chosen is AMD's Ryzen 5 3600. It's a 6-core 12-thread CPU built on TSMC's 7nm FinFET technology and based on Zen 2 architecture of AMD, with a base clock of 3.6 GHz and a single-core max boost clock of 4.2 GHz. Included with the CPU is a Wraith Stealth cooler, which is a decent enough stock cooler, that is, if you are not overclocking the CPU. However, if you plan on overclocking the CPU, an aftermarket cooler is suggested. This CPU is an excellent choice for gamers considering the performance it offers in terms of the value. X600, where X is basically the generation number, CPUs in the Ryzen series has always been the best value for money in every generation of Ryzen, and this one is no exception. Furthermore, AMD improved the performance of 3600 by a significant amount when compared to the earlier 1600 and 2600. It costs around 17,000 rupees. Motherboard. Most people think of motherboard to be quite boring, while as a matter of fact, it is an extremely important component of the PC, acting like the spine of the system, holding everything together. So don't cheap out on this. It can make or break your PC. Well, what exactly led me to choose this particular motherboard? Keep watching and you will know. First, we will talk about the chipsets that AMD released till the date of making this video. Here's the chart. As we can see, the chipsets are A320, B350, X370, B450, X470 and X570. Well, X570 does not support Generation 1 Ryzen CPUs. It supports only 2nd Gen and 3rd Gen Ryzen CPUs. X470 and B450 are the only ones that support all 3 generations, as we can see here. X370, B350 and A320 are quite outdated as of right now, and the one we will be focusing on is B450. Now, the next point is, for a build of 75,000 rupees, I will allot a maximum budget of 9,000 rupees for the motherboard, not a cent more. That means B450 is the only logical option I have. This is because only B450 can officially support all 3 generations as well as fit our budget. And that brings to the theme of the motherboard vendors who makes B450 motherboards. They are Asus, Gigabyte and finally MSI. Let's start with Asus first. Only the last 2 motherboards in this list, that is ROG Strix B450E and B450F, have good VRM capable of overclocking. Since these 2 are way beyond our fixed budget, we will be moving on to the next vendor, that is MSI. Now among these, only ProCarbon and Tomahawk have good VRMs. The prices yet again are quite high. Other MSI B450 motherboards which have great VRMs are number 1 Mortar, number 2 Mortar Titanium, and in case overclocking isn't a priority, you can go for Bazooka. Now let's move on to Gigabyte. Only the first 2 motherboards in the list, that is Aorus Pro Wi-Fi and Aorus M, features great VRM. Aorus Pro Wi-Fi is way out of our budget, so the only feasible option right now is Aorus M. Hence, the motherboard featured in our build will be Gigabyte B450 Aorus M. So, the features of B450 Aorus M are, let's talk a little bit about the VRM. It has 7 true phases in the order of 4x2 plus 3. Although it might be marketed as having 11 phases, in reality there are only 7 true phases and the remaining 4 are just doublers. This is an excellent configuration and allows for good overclockability. Number 2. BIOS update. Well, BIOS update is mandatory for a 3000 series chip to be compatible with this board. Number 3. There are 4 DIMM slots supporting a maximum of 64 GB of DDR4 RAM at a speed of 3200 MHz. As for PCIe slots, it has 1 PCIe 1 slot and 2 PCIe 16 slots, among which one is a PCIe Gen 3 and the other one is a PCIe Gen 2 slot. Now coming to storage, we have 6 SATA 3 ports, of which 4 of them are bent at 90 degrees, allowing for a better and efficient cable management. And number 2, one M.2 slot supporting both SATA as well as NVMe SSDs. It also has 3 4-pin fan headers in case you would want to add more fans in the future. Number 7. The rear panel of this board has 8 USB slots, of which 2 are USB 3.1 Type A, 4 are USB 3.0 Type A, and the remaining 2 are USB 2.0. Please note that this motherboard does not have BIOS flashback button and it does not support SLI. It will cost 8200 rupees only. Let's talk about RAM. Now, for a Ryzen build, choosing the correct RAM is extremely important. For a Ryzen CPU to give its best, we need number 1, fast RAM, number 2, dual channel RAM, that is 2 RAM sticks, and number 3, tighter timings on the RAM. For example, if you are going for a 8 GB of RAM in a build having a Ryzen CPU, go for 2 4 GB RAM sticks rather than one 8 GB RAM stick. In this build, I have chosen a pair of G.Skill Ripjaw's 3000 MHz RAM. The timings on this module is 16, 18, 18, 38. The modules can be overclocked and tightened manually if you want to extract every bit of performance from this. Now you might ask, why did I select 3000 MHz and not more? Well, in terms of value for money, for RAM sticks, 3000 MHz right now is the sweet spot in the Indian market. My recommendation to you viewers is that if you are choosing a RAM stick with higher frequency, do not go beyond 3200 MHz because the performance difference won't be visible to naked eye. This pair will cost 6000 rupees. Let's talk about the storage of this build. Now for the storage, I have chosen one hard disk and one SSD. For the hard disk, we have chosen WD Blue 1TB, which is a very popular 7200 RPM hard drive. Considering the humongous size of the recent games, 1TB won't be enough for long. However, for starters, 1TB should be fine and you can upgrade your storage later on. It will cost 2900 rupees. SSD? Well, the SSD I am choosing here is Adata SU630 240GB, which is a SATA SSD. This will act as a boot drive and a maximum of 1 or 2 games can be installed in it. It will cost 2300 rupees. Finally, we will be talking about the GPU I have chosen for this build. The GPU I have chosen is Galax GeForce RTX 2060 Super Edition. Let's talk about the specifications of this card first. Number 1, it's based on NVIDIA's latest Turing architecture. The base clock is 1470 MHz and the boost clock 1650 MHz. It has 8 GB of 256-bit GDDR6 memory with an effective memory speed of 14 Gbps. This GPU has 2176 CUDA cores. Now, I'll be talking as to why I chose this particular card. Our aim is to choose a GPU that can give us a high refresh rate 1080p gaming, 80 plus FPS of 1440p gaming and an entry level of 4K gaming within 32,000 rupees. Keeping these in mind, we have two choices. 1. RTX 2060 Super from NVIDIA and number 2. Radeon RX 5700 from AMD. Both of these are great cards. However, the pricing of AIB models of RX 5700 cards are just crazy in India. Since we won't be going for lower edition cards, RTX 2060 Super becomes our option. Within 32K, there were only two options, Inno3D and Galax. I chose the latter one. This card comes with two 90mm fans and 3 ports, one HDMI, one DisplayPort and one DVI-D port. It costs around 31,000 rupees. Just like the motherboard, people also tend to cheap out on the PSU. The PSU, which is practically the heart of the system, can too make or break the system. Cheap power supplies more often than not tends to be harmful in the long run. Now let's talk about the 3 different types of PSU manufacturers. Number 1. OEM. This stands for Original Equipment Manufacturers. They build and design their own PSUs and often do that for designer companies too. Designers. Designer companies either build and design their own products and outsource some of their manufacturing to OEMs, or they outsource their entire manufacturing to OEMs. Labels. They import foreign PSUs and market them with their own label. Now, companies like Corsair and Antec fall in the second category, that is, designers. The PSU we are going with for this build is Corsair's CX550 80+ bronze. Corsair's CX450, CX550 and CX650 PSU units are made by two OEMs, Channelwell Technology (CWT) and Great Wall. Both of these OEMs' approach in making these units results in two slightly different variants of the same PSU unit. Now the question arises as to which one should you choose. According to Tom's Hardware, who reviewed both the variants of CX450, the two PSU units can be differentiated only by their RPS number, often found at the base of the PSU. The CWT version was stamped with RPS 0053 and the Great Wall version with RPS 0063. Unfortunately, if you order it online, you cannot find out as to which version you will be getting. In short, both of their performance is almost same, with the CWT versions being a little less efficient and making much lesser noise. The CX550 is a non-modular PSU which delivers 550 watt of continuous current having 80+ bronze efficiency and sleeved cables with these protection circuits and is backed by a 5-year warranty. CX550 is a good choice for this build and it costs around 4400 rupees. Coming to the last component of this build, the case. For the case, we have chosen Antec NX210. This case features 4 120mm single mode ARGB LED fans, of which one is in the rear and the remaining 3 in the front. There is no PSU shroud and the side panel as well as the front panel are both made up of tempered glass. The front panel features a power button, reset button, LED control button, jacks for headphone and mic and 3 USB ports. For storage, it features 3 2.5-inch SSD slots and only one 3.5-inch hard drive slot, which will be a problem since we won't be able to add another hard drive in this case. It will cost around 3000 rupees. And that brings the total cost of the PC to around 75,000 rupees. If you've liked this video, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe. If you have any questions or suggestions, put them down in the comments. That's all for today. We will meet again in the next video.